The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Kenai, Alaska, on your new fire apparatus, job number 33605-01. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Let's start just down at the front bumper. On the face of the front bumper, you'll find dual air horns on the passenger and driver's side. Moving just inward of that location, directly in the center, you'll find your mechanical siren on the bumper face. Moving over toward the driver's side, front face of the bumper, you're going to find your PA speaker electronic siren. Moving over to the area on the front section of the cab, you'll find a emergency warning light side facing on the upper front corner. Moving up onto the cab face, you're going to find heated headlights, high and low beam. High beam is on the inside. Moving up from that location, you're going to find an emergency warning light and turn indicator. Moving further up onto the side of the apparatus, right on the corner, you're going to find a turn indicator clearance light. Let's move up now to the windshield. You have a seamless windshield across the entire front. There are 3 windshield wipers. Moving to the outer edges to the mirrors. You have heated mirrors. They are going to be a flat mirror and also a lower section convex mirror. Moving up to the very top of the brow of the apparatus, we're going to find 5 clearance lights. And then moving up onto the roof, you're going to find your emergency warning light bar. Inside that light bar, you'll find your Opticom system. Let's take a look at some close-ups of those items that we just talked about. First, let's start down at the front bumper face. Moving from this location, we'll just zoom in to the mechanical siren and speaker. Moving just over to the side, you'll see the dual air horns. This is the driver's side. And this is your headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights. Moving now down to the side, this is the side emergency warning light. Let's start with the cab now, go through a few items. First of all, down at the very bottom, you have Goodyear tires. In the very center, you'll find a hub with a viewing window. As we move up onto the doors, you'll find your door latches that are keyed entry. You'll also find grab handles at all points of entry. Moving up from that location, we're going to see a side-facing cab scene light. And then moving to the very back of the cab, we're going to find a water tank level indicator. Let's move down to the driver's side step well. Located in the step well, you'll find the air inlet, and you'll also find a light for that step. Just beneath that, you'll find your perimeter lighting and also step light. Let's move to the door panel, where you'll find affixed toward the door panel a set of warning labels and also hazard labels. As we move also onto the seat area, you'll find information here regarding the use of seat belts, and you'll also find this placard, manufactured by Pierce for your department. It has the date of manufacture, the 5-digit job number, in addition with the type of chassis, gross vehicle weight ratings, cold tire inflation, the VIN number, and all of your fluid capacities for components, fluid capacity types, and fluid types. As we move inside to the seat area, you'll find comfort controls on the right-hand side of the driver. Moving up from that also, you'll find an air ride adjust location. Let's move to the dash area. First, down at the very bottom, you're going to find your accelerator. Moving just to the left side of that, you're going to find your brake treadle. Moving up from that location, we're going to find the master battery switch. It's going to be on the upper left-hand side. And as we move just to the right, you'll find a diagnostic port. This is for your J1939 ABS and also transmission information and engine information. Beneath that, we'll find a set of switches. These are going to be for ABS diagnostics, engine diagnostics, and DPF regen switches. Moving up from that location, you'll find your interaxle differential lock and an indicator that you've locked the differential. Moving to the right-hand side, you're going to find your pump shift. We'll go over that in just a moment. Let's start in the upper left-hand corner with the ignition and start switch on the left. Moving just inside of that location, you'll find a switch labeled EM. That is for Emergency Master. Controls all of your emergency lights. Just inside of that, you'll find clearance lights and headlight control. Just to the right of that, you'll find a switch labeled Panel. This will increase or decrease your brightness of the panel lights. Moving to the right-hand side, you're going to find your pump shift, you have instructions here to engage from road to pump and also from pump to road. You need 2 green indicators for exiting the cab for pump operations. Moving up to the top, you'll find your high idle on switch and indicator light. Moving to the right, you'll find the main mirror and also convex mirror control for passenger and driver's side. Let's take a look at the dash cluster. First, starting on the left, you'll find your transmission, oil temperature, DEF level, water temperature. Located in the center, you'll find your tachometer and speedometer. Moving to the right, you'll find the volts, fuel, front and rear air. Diagnostic information will display above and below the speedometer. Let's move just to the right from this location. We'll first start at the very top with your siren control module and also PA speaker system. Moving down from that location, we've got a set of switches, first starting with the air horn, electric horn, mechanical siren, front wheel lock, siren brake, which is your red switch, and then also your front brow light and off-road traction control. Moving down from that location, you'll find your engine brake and also a setting switch for low, medium, and high, your opticom, rear dump, mirror heat, and load manager. Moving just up into the far right-hand side in that same vicinity, you're going to find your windshield wiper control push for windshield wiper fluid. Moving down to the bottom, we're going to find your system parking brake, pull to apply that system parking brake, and push to release. Moving further down, we're going to find your Allison transmission pad. And then moving all the way up to the right, you're going to find your climate control. We have heat and defrost heat. Moving down just beneath that, you're going to find a 12-volt access point. This is USB style. Let's take a look overhead, quick glimpse. There's a set of switches on the left and right. Let's first start on the left-hand side. This is going to be your emergency master, roof light, front warning light, side warning light, lower rear warning, and then upper rear warning. When any of these switches have been activated, the indicator will illuminate in the window area. Let's move just to the right of this area. Same set of type switches. We're going to start with the driver's side scene lights, passenger side scene, rear scene, your deck lights, a high beam flash, and also perimeter lighting. Once again, any of those switches have been activated, the actual window will illuminate the color of the switch. As we move toward the center, you'll find your backup camera monitoring system. And then as we move to the very center, you'll find this red LED flashing light indicating that you have a compartment door open or ajar and do not move your apparatus. Let's move further forward of that location to your seatbelt information. Red indicating that someone is in the seat and they are not belted. Green indicating that they're in the seat and belted. Let's just take a general look here inside the cab where you'll find your pull for your air horn lanyard and also your headset systems. As we move now outside of the vehicle, we'll start in the very rear section. This is going to be a perimeter lighting. Moving up from that location, you'll find a step light. Let's take a look at the door panel itself. Once again, affixed to the door panels, you'll find all those warning labels, indication here for firefighter safety. As we move down to the hinge area, you'll find this red grab handle assist firefighters in and out of the cab. Let's take a look inside. First, you'll find in the rear-facing seat, this is going to be an SCBA seat. And as we move now just from that location to the center area, you'll find the location for your daily checks for oil and transmission behind this pan door. Let's move to the rear. You'll find an additional SCBA holder on the outer edge. Located in the center, you'll find 2 SCBA seats. Overhead, you'll find your intercom system. You'll also find push on and off white and red lights. Let's go back outside of the cab area. Let's first identify on the midsection, you're going to find these fold down steps will gain access to go aloft. I'd like to start in the upper left-hand corner identifying some of the items here. These are your cross lays. There are 2, the number 1 and number 2, and then you also have a dead lay. Let's move now to the pump panel area, starting first in the gray module with your master intake. That's the gauge on the left-hand side. Moving to the right, you'll find your master discharge gauge. And then in between the 2 of those, you're going to find vacuum and pressure test gauge ports. They are currently plugged, and those would be for testing purposes. Moving to the red module, this is going to be your Husky foam system. That's the control module for your foam. Just to the right, there are some instructions and also a foam level indicator. Moving just to the right of that location, you're going to find your pressure throttle governor. Please see your owner's manual for operation of this device. As we move to the right, you'll find some switches here. You also have an indicator that your pump has been properly engaged. Let's move down to the next section where you'll find all of your discharge gauges, and also you'll find that they are labeled and also color-coded. Moving to the right, you'll find your deck gun, which is going to be a wheel. To the right-hand side, you'll find that wheel, and then you'll find the tank, fill, and recirculating line. Moving further to the right, you're going to find additional gauges here, once again color-coded and labeled. And in the upper left-hand corner, you're going to find this audible alarm. The outer edge of that audible alarm speaker does have the ability to dampen the sound. Moving all the way to the far right, you'll find in red a push button. This will activate your air horn. Moving down to the left, you'll find your engine cooler. And then moving further to the right, we're going to find an additional large diameter discharge. This is for the passenger side, as your green in color. Moving to the right, you're going to find the red and blue. These are your 2.5-inch discharges located on the driver's side of the pump. Moving to the right, you're going to find your water level. This is an indicator for the amount of water in your water tank. Moving to the right, you're going to find your fire pump primer. There are some instructions just above that. For best practices, you should be at least at 1,000 RPMs. Down in the lower right, difficult to see in the image, this is your tank to pump. Let's move further down on the pump panel. We'll identify a few more of those items, first starting with your foam lever. This is for fill operations and draft. Moving to the right, you'll find behind the Pierce American Flag Eagle, this is your large diameter pump intake. Moving further to the right, this is the auxiliary inlet. It is a 2.5-inch female inlet. And then as we move to the right, you'll find the pump drain. This is your master pump drain. Let's move just down from this location where you'll find this warning label that you should be cautious when opening caps that may be under pressure. As we move further down, you'll find an access panel on the far left-hand side. Some information here about the type of pump that you have, which is a Hale. Moving just up from that location, you'll find your shoreline inlet plug. Let's move just to the right of this location. We do have an additional warning label here regarding a possibility of foam failure and not to mix different brands or consistencies of foam. Just beneath that, you'll find your test pressure plaque for 150, 200, and 250 psi. And to the right, you're going to find only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment only after they've received proper training. Moving to the right, you're going to find some discharge drains. Let's take a look just under the location here. You'll find foam pump discharge drains and also foam pump intake drains. Moving up to the very top, this is just in front of the dunnage area. You're going to find your master stream device. It does have an extend-a-gun on it, and also you can remove that monitor from the top location. Let's take a look at the side of the apparatus. Just in front of the rear wheels is where you're going to find your folding wheel chocks. Moving up from that location, you'll find a marker light, clearance turn indicator light. Just above that, you're also going to find the location for your DEF fill location. Located between the two axles is where you're going to find SCBA bottle storage location, and right next to it, you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light. Moving further to the right, you're going to find your fill location for your diesel fuel. And then as we move all the way up to the very top of the apparatus, we're going to find your drafting tubes. And then moving to the very rear section, you'll find a 360-degree emergency warning light. And on the very back rear facing, you'll find your rear scene lights. Let's take a look at some close-ups. Here's the wheel chocks that we just talked about. Moving back now toward the front section, you're going to find in the first compartment, we'll talk a little bit about this module. This will control your light tower, which is directly above on top of the apparatus in the dunnage area. We'll go over that a little bit later in the video. You'll also find in all of your compartments you do have extension straps. Let's move down from this location. This is the blue DEF fill location. Let's take a look to the axles here. We have two axles with Goodyear tires. Moving from this location directly up in between those two axles, we're going to find SCBA bottle storage location and also an emergency warning light. Moving to the rear axle, just above that, you'll find your silver ultra low sulfur diesel fuel location. Moving up from that location to the very top, we're going to find a step light, and then moving just to the right, you'll find your large diameter suction hose. Let's move down from this location to the rear compartment. You'll find a roll-up compartment door, LED lighting inside, and also ventilation louvers. Moving to the rear section of the apparatus, we'll first start in the lower left-hand corner. This will be the driver's side rear, starting with at the top in this light cluster, emergency light, brake, turn, and backup. Moving up to the very top, you'll find a cup switch. This controls the dump valve control. And then moving just to the right, you're going to find some warning labels here that you should not ride on the rear of the apparatus for fall injury. Moving up just above that tail light cluster, we're going to find storage location here for your porta tank. And then moving above that, you'll find a 360-degree emergency warning light. Above that, at the very top, you'll find a rear-facing scene light. Then we'll move back down to the rear section of the apparatus, first starting with those warning labels again on the lower left, fall injury while climbing and also riding. As we move to the very top, you'll find two emergency warning lights rear-facing. Directly in the center, you'll find your rear scene light. As I move further down on the left-hand side of this image, you'll find your indication here for the amount of water in your tank. This is your tank water level indicator. Moving just to the right, directly in the center above the Pierce logo, is where you're going to find your backup camera. Moving further to the right, you'll find a 2.5-inch rear discharge. And then as we move further down, you'll find your large diameter tank fill. Let's move down to the very bottom where you'll find that drop-down door on the pan, and then you're also going to find on the left and right your tow hook location points. Quick view of your rear dump. And then as we move to the rear section here, you'll see the outlet, which does have the extender to reach outward of the side of the compartments. Moving up from that location, you're going to find ladder storage. You have a 24-foot extension and a 14-foot roof. Above that, you'll find pike poles, and then to the right, you'll find a 10-foot folding ladder. Let's take a quick look at your hose cover. You can see that you have two sections. The left section opens separate from the right section, and they are also attached through a cam buckle lock. Let's go ahead and now move to the passenger side of the vehicle. We'll start at the rear section of the apparatus and work our way forward. First, let's start with SCBA bottle storage. You have a single bottle storage location to the rear axle retaining strap. Located between the two axles, same as the driver's side, you find SCBA bottle storage with retaining straps. Just to the forward section, you'll find a single SCBA bottle storage location with retaining strap. And then as we move down to the very bottom mid location, you're going to find your additional perimeter lighting down at the very bottom. Let's move up from that location. We'll identify some of the items within the pump panel area. First, starting at the very bottom, you'll find all your color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Moving up from that location, you'll find panel access just behind this pan door. Moving forward, you're going to see a Pierce American Flag Eagle large diameter pump intake. Moving to the right, you'll find your passenger side auxiliary inlet. This is a 2.5-inch ball valve. Just inside that access panel is where you're going to find your relief valve, and that is the setting screw that you're seeing now. Let's move now up just from that location. You'll find two 2.5-inch discharges on this side. You'll also find a large diameter passenger side discharge. Moving just to the right, you're going to find a warning label here regarding pressure hazard. Be cautious removing caps that may be under pressure. We'll now move just to the right. This is going to be your cab lift. There are instructions here to raise the cab and also lower the cab. We do have some caution and danger labels here. Make sure that you secure all items within the cab area. Moving upward, you'll find your cross lays and also that dead lay that we talked about earlier. Let's move now to the cab section. We'll start at the very top. This is going to be your LED water tank level indicator. Moving forward to that location, you'll find also a side-facing LED scene light. Let's move down from that location. You'll also find a emergency warning light midsection. Let's go ahead and go inside the cab area. This is the passenger side rear door we're looking at. Just inside of that, you're going to find heaters on both passenger and driver's side. This is the mechanism for that. As we move to the rear area, you'll find SCBA bottle storage location here. Then as we look overhead, you'll find push on and off red and white lights just by pushing the lens itself, and also your intercom system. Just to point out here, on the passenger side, you do have an EMS compartment or cabinet, and then on the driver's side, you have an additional SCBA seat. Inside, you'll find adjustable shelving and LED lighting. This compartment does have exterior access via the D handle on the exterior of the cab. As we move to the officer's area, fixed to the door panels, you'll find all of those warning labels. Just inside of that location on the hinge side, you'll also find the fill location for your windshield wiper fluid. Just underneath the seat riser, you'll find an additional storage location here.
Moving to the very top section, the officer seat does have an SCBA nestled inside. And then as we move to the forward section, you'll find your mechanical siren push button. Just down from that mechanical siren, you'll find an additional USB 12-volt access point. Let's look overhead where you'll find push on and off red and white lights. Those are the lenses that you just tap to push on. As we move to the forward section of the dash, you'll also find your wireless FireCom headset system. Moving upward of that location, you'll find the FireCom module. Let's go ahead and move to the very top section of the apparatus where your hose cover is located. You do have a fully covered hose bed. As we look inside the hose bed, you'll find air vents just underneath that to allow airflow in that hose area. You'll also find reinforced lids that will withstand a person's weight. Moving forward to that location, you'll also find top access for the fill location for your water tank. Let's go ahead and move now to the dunnage area. This is the area that houses not only your light tower, but also the top fill location for your foam A tank. On that foam A tank, you'll find a warning label here not to mix different brands or consistencies of foam for foam hazard failure. This is going to be your light tower located also within the dunnage area. Congratulations, Kenai, Alaska, on your new fire apparatus, job number 33605-01. If you have any questions regarding your apparatus, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.